Hey friends, Good Friday today. Just wanted to take a few moments to share some reflections about the centrality of the cross. You know, Good Friday is all about the cross. And so often I think in our Christian world, we only relegate the cross to the issues of justification or initial salvation. But I want to share with you today about what it means to live under the cross, because the Christian community is essentially a community of the cross. The cross has radically altered all of our relationships. I want you to think of the totality of the Christian life. We now worship God in continuous celebration in light of the cross. We understand ourselves and we give ourselves to others in service in light of the cross. We love our enemies and called to love our enemies in light of the cross. We are to seek to overcome evil with good in light of the cross. And we also face the perplexing problem of suffering in light of the cross. So the Apostle Paul, in perhaps his first epistle, his epistle to the Galatians, makes so many affirmations about the cross. And I wanted to just group them together today in four kind of reasons for the cross. But I want you to grasp with me the centrality and the pervasiveness of how the cross invades every single sphere of Christian living, not just coming to Jesus initially. The first one is this: the cross is the ground for our justification. So Christ has rescued us from this present evil age, Galatians 1:4 says, and has redeemed us from the curse of the law, Galatians 3:13. Now, the reason why Jesus has delivered us from this double bondage is so that we may stand boldly before God as sons and daughters of God, declared righteous through faith and indwelt by His Holy Spirit. Secondly, the cross is the means of our sanctification. And this is where the other three crucifixions come in that the Apostle Paul elaborates on in Galatians. We've been crucified with Christ, Galatians 2:20. We have crucified our fallen nature, Galatians 5:24. And the world has been crucified to us and us to the world, Galatians 6:14. So the cross, catch this, means more than just the crucifixion of Jesus on that Good Friday. It includes our own crucifixion, the crucifixion of our flesh, and the crucifixion of the world. Now I want you to notice the progression, right? The cross is not something we graduate from. Notice how its implications lead all the way through the Christian life. Number three, the cross is the subject of our witness. We are to placard Christ crucified publicly before other people's eyes so that they may see and believe, Galatians 3:1 says. So in doing so, we're not called to sanitize the gospel or to make it less offensive to human pride. No, we preach the merit of Jesus, the merit of Christ, which is the cross of Christ, and not the merit of man, which is circumcision, right? It is the only way of salvation, Galatians 5:11 tells us. And then fourthly and finally, the cross is the subject of our boasting. God forbid that we should boast in anything else, Paul said, Galatians 6:14. You think of the Apostle Paul, his whole world was in orbit around the cross. Imagine the cross as the sun and our solar system, and everything orbits the cross, right? It filled Paul's vision. It illuminated his life. It warmed his spirit. Paul said, I glory in the cross of Jesus Christ. It meant more to him than anything else. And our perspective, friends, should be the exact same. I know this is a challenging word, but if the cross for us as believers is not central in all four spheres for us, right? Justification, sanctification, our witness, and then our boasting, we deserve to have applied to us what was applied to the New Testament believers, which is the most terrible of all descriptions, that we are enemies of the cross of Christ. Now think about this. To be an enemy of the cross of Christ is to set ourselves against its purposes. So what are the opposites of the four things we said? So if we have self-righteousness, which is looking to self instead of the cross for justification. If we have self-indulgence, which is instead of us taking up our cross to follow Christ, we follow ourselves, right? If we have self-advertisement, right, self-promotion, instead of preaching Christ crucified as our witness, and then we have self-glorification instead of glorying in the cross, those are all distortions which actually make us enemies of Christ's cross. So may we this Good Friday take this opportunity to take inventory and say, am I a devoted friend of the cross, right?